Would you like to know how a tradesman goes about their work and see behind the scenes of a typical day? Do you want a professional to give you a guide on how to lay laminate flooring? Would you like to know how a custom motorcycle builder tackles customising and restoring classic bikes? On the latest episode of Evolution Power Tools TV, we'll be spending some time exploring the trades. You're right everyone, my name's Joe from Average Joe's Joinery and I'm excited to introduce to you a brand new episode of Evolution Power Tools TV, a monthly show dedicated to bringing you inspirational stories, DIY guides and tips and tricks to make you a better maker. We've got loads of great Evolution Power Tools TV content on our channel, so make sure you hit subscribe. This is our final episode of Series 1, so make sure you turn that bell notification on to guarantee you don't miss any new content or any other new episodes when we come back next year. Okay, let's see what we've got coming up. First up, we spend a day with Matthew Fisher as he visits the customers of his flooring business and gives us a peek behind the scenes of life as a tradesman. Matthew has also created an in-depth guide to laying laminate flooring, so make sure you click the link in the description to check that out. Next, we visit Jonathan Hull, a custom motorcycle builder, and he shows us some of his projects. Make sure you check out the full video on the website. After that, Vikkie is back again to speak to our special guest. On this episode, she'll be having a chat with Danielle Bayliss, who will tell us all about her furniture upcycling and DIY projects. Then we'll be concluding our short series of 3 build guides. I've created a how-to video on making a rocking horse and we'll be showing you some of that later on. If you can't wait to see the guide, simply click the link in the description to go through to the Evolution Power Tools website. Finally, it's competition time. Megan will be here to take a look at your recent creations and announce whose project has won some great prizes. We'll also announce the winner of our big competition. Okay, so now you've seen what's coming up, let's get started. Here's Matthew to show us what he gets up to at work.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I'm the business owner of Cleveland Bespoke Flooring and Tiling. Today I'm going to show you some of the projects that I've completed and some of the materials and tools that I've used. Right, let's get going. I've been a floor layer for 12 years. I've recently become self-employed. I've been self-employed now for 6 months. I've gone from starting off from just fitting normal room carpets to now the more experienced things fitting herringbone LVT. I also do runners on staircases, that type of thing. You can check out my Instagram and my Facebook to see all this. And I've also now expanded and I want to go into the tiling world. It's been a long journey as a floor layer. During that time, I've met my beautiful wife, we've been married, we've got a house and we've got a beautiful dog called Nala. My ambitions for the future are I'd like to open a showroom and I'd love to expand my business more. As an LVT and laminate installer, I have lots of machines on the van, especially this one, the Evolution R255 double bevel sliding miter saw, where you can get 50 degrees left, 50 degrees right, ideal for them awkward cuts on laminate and both LVT. So the Evolution Fury 6 is my absolute go-to machine. You can run long planks of laminate through, ideal for finishing off ends of rooms. This also turns into a miter saw as well, ideal for little cuts that you might have to do. It's portable, lightweight, and ideal for taking on big jobs. Because this is small, lightweight and portable, this is so much better than using a jigsaw as well. I'm now going to go and see a previous client where I've done some flooring for them in the annex. Let's go.
We built a double garage with some accommodation above and office space. Basically for when me and my wife are working at home, so we have the extra space away from the house, just so we've got a bit more privacy and we can keep all our files safe and away from the children. Now that we've gone back into the office a bit more, the accommodation above the garage itself can be put on like Airbnb or Booking.com as well. You have to go through like architects, speak to your local authorities, building control, to see if it's actually fit for purpose for the area as well and whether it'll blend in with the sort of street scenes as such. It's quite a hard and difficult task if you've got awkward neighbours as such. You have to go through like the planning processes, which can take in excess of 6 months at the moment for our local area. So basically what we have downstairs is a double garage space with also an area at the back of the garage where you can relax away from sort of the office space upstairs, with some bifold doors at the rear, just to really accentuate the aspect of the brightness and the light in a nice area to chill out. And then upstairs we have a bedroom at the rear, an office at the front, and a shower room, toilet facilities. So we wanted a hard-wearing, durable floor covering that would be long-lasting. So that's why we chose the products that we've chosen, the carpets, on the recommendation of Matthew. So we chose the carpet in the bedroom just for the look and comfort and feel. Obviously when you get out of bed it's quite a nice thing. Throughout the landing and into the lounge we've actually chose the same product. Just obviously we wanted it to feel homely. In the office area we've got the luxury vinyl click tile. Was chosen for the chair really, so that you can glide. You can put your heavy printer and scanner onto that area as well, and then we've got the vinyl in the bathroom, which is obviously a wet area, so it's easy clean and a good product.
So this is a recent job that I've completed myself. We went for a herringbone look. We also went for the SPC LVT plastic, much better than the laminate. The SPC is waterproof, it's scratch resistant, comes built in with a 1mm underlay in the back to give that acoustic dulling sound. And also this is now the in thing that everybody wants, the herringbone. So the LVT SPC is very easy to click together. As you can see, very DIY friendly. If you'd like to find out how I put the floor together, click the link in the description below. Thanks for coming to visit me to find out more about myself and my business. If you'd like to find out how I laid the floor, click the link in the description below.
Make sure you click the links in the description to go through to the Evolution Power Tools website. You'll not only find Matthew's guide to laying laminate flooring, but you'll also find much more great content from everyone featured in this episode. Thanks Matthew, it was great to join you for the day. If you want to see Matthew's full guide to laying laminate flooring, the link's in the description.
Later in the show, I'll be revealing who has won last month's competition prizes of a Samsung Galaxy Watch and an Amazon Echo Dot. So stick around to see who this month's lucky winners are.
Before we move on to our next feature, now's a good time to take a look at what you guys have been doing this month. Danielle has been cut into size pallet wood to be glued and clamped on her latest project. Great work there, Danielle. Ellison has been using her miter saw to cut scaffold boards for these kitchen shelves, loving the rustic look. Al's been using his miter saw on 50x50mm box section on his latest fabrication work. Handy not having to change the blade for the metal stock, isn't it, Al? And finally, some sheet metal action on the steel cutting track saw from DIY Workshop on his industrial table build. Thanks for sending it in. Make sure that you tag us in all of your project videos. We love seeing what you guys are getting up to. Now it's time to visit Jonathan Hull to find out how he creates custom motorcycles for his customers.
Hello, my name's Jonathan from Jonathan Hull & Son Bespoke Motorcycles Limited. I'm going to show you around my workshop today. I build custom motorcycles, specifically what they call new wave cafe racers. The term cafe racer comes from the 1960s in England, where young men and women would buy stock motorcycles and then strip them back, trying to make them quicker and more nimble and agile, and they would relieve the bike of anything that got in the way of that. So similar to my philosophy, if it doesn't make the bike go faster or stop quicker, then it's gone. I try to strip the bikes back to the most basic components, but with the new wave we tend to add a more technological advancement. So we replace like the halogen bulbs for full LED systems. We use lithium-ion batteries. We use state-of-the-art components. So we bring that traditional cafe racer ethos into the modern day. So about 5 years ago, I went to my local barber's, and my barber Nick was talking to me while I was there, and he'd mentioned that he wanted to buy a motorcycle and strip it back and turn it into a cafe racer. I had no idea at the time what a cafe racer was, but I was intrigued. So typical me, I went home and I started looking at them on the internet and doing some research, and I found myself being really fascinated by these motorbikes. We rescued a CG125 from a scrap heap that was destined to be crushed, and got it home. And the story starts there. Quite naively, I thought it was just going to be a case of changing a few parts and buying some custom aftermarket parts off eBay, but I fast realised it was going to be a lot more complicated than that. But what actually happened was, when I put the pictures of the finished bikes up, some of the big influencer sites took it on, and all of a sudden this little bike started getting a lot of attention. I think from there I realised actually I could be quite good at this, and now 5 years on, I've got a business and I'm doing it full time. Okay, so I can source donor bikes from various different places. I'm obviously scouring eBay all the time to find donor vehicles. I use a very specific donor vehicle for the 125s that I produce the most of. They are 2004 to 2008 CG125s. They're getting a bit harder to get. I don't really need them in great condition, so I don't need a rideable, roadworthy bike, because a lot of it gets recycled or it goes in the skip. I'm lucky that the bikes that I build are very fashionable at the minute. They're a very sought after style of motorcycle. So I meet people at shows. I've been lucky enough to have a bike this year at the Bike Shed show in London, and I also exhibit bikes down at the Malay Mile as well, and these are sort of big popular companies that put on these shows through my website and through Instagram as well, and perhaps 90% of my business comes through Instagram. So it is possible to build a motorcycle with very limited tooling, as I did with my first build, but as you get more into it, as you become more professional, you need to streamline your operation, you need to make things quicker and easier and better quality. But at the moment I've got everything I need. That ranges from small hand tools, files and shaping tools. I've got some big steel cutting chop saws, I've got grinders and polishers. I also have the 10-ton hydraulic press that is vital for what I do at the minute, but perhaps only comes out once in the build. And then perhaps on the bigger side, I have this. This is my Drummond Brothers lathe. This was made in 1921 in the UK. It's an English-made lathe, and it still functions. I've had to do some modification. I've had to build a frame for it, put a new motor on it, and a regulator, modernise it. But it still operates really well today, and it still has precision as well. Short term, I'm looking to move into a bigger premises. I'm currently operating from my residential address, and I have a nice workshop, and it's the size that's usable, but I need more space in order to expand. I'd like to have 3 ramps so I can have 3 builds on the go at once, rather than just constantly taking one off and putting one on. Long term, I'd like to move into a premises that's big enough to hold events, even have a coffee shop and those sort of things, and expand my clothing line. Thank you for coming to visit me in my workshop today. If you'd like to see a more in-depth video about the bikes I create, then please feel free to click the link in the description.
Make sure you click the links in the description to go through to the Evolution Power Tools website. You'll not only find a more in-depth video about Jonathan, but you'll also find much more great content from everyone featured in this episode. Thanks Jonathan, it was great to see your workshop and the things that you create in it. Click the link in the description if you want to find out more about Jonathan's projects. Before we meet this month's guest, you guys have been sending us your DIY tips. Let's take a look.
Make sure you're always wearing goggles, whatever you're doing. I'm an ophthalmology doctor, and so many people come into our eye casualty with a foreign body in their eye, and it hurts. So definitely always be wearing goggles.
Painter's triangles, if you stain a lot of wood or paint a lot of wood, these things are really handy to sit underneath so that you can paint one side and then flip the material over and paint the other, and it rests on these triangles. Super handy.
Decorator's cool because your new best friend filling in all those gaps and edges.
Make sure you've got a breaker in your tool bag. You won't believe how often I've used a breaker on this job. Big job, small job, you're going to want a breaker, make sure you've got one.
How'd you
keep the rim of your paint tin clean, use some old foil. Wrap it around the edge, pour it into your tray, then remove the foil, leaving a clean paint tin.
Thanks to everyone for giving us your DIY tips. If you'd like to get involved, all you have to do is make a video of yourself telling us your top 5 DIY tips. Tag us in the video and you could be featured on our next episode. If your video is featured, we'll send you a brand new Evolution miter saw, so make sure you get involved. Right, it's time to meet our guest maker. She's an upcycler and DIYer who creates unique furniture for her home. She provides tips and tricks to her many Instagram followers, as well as creating custom pieces for her customers. It's furniture aficionado, Danielle Bayliss.
Thank you so much for joining us, Danny. Now, in a nutshell, can you tell everyone at home what you do, which is mostly on Instagram, I believe, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I work from home and I upcycle vintage and old furniture, trying to create something new that someone will want in their own home again.
Well, I was very impressed to see your back catalogue of pieces. You source like vintage and unique pieces. What is your process for finding furniture?
I'm constantly on Facebook Marketplace. I tend to stick with the linen cabinets and cocktail cabinets and dressing tables and sideboards. I then also occasionally dabble into the eBays and Gumtrees. I've also find the local charity shops and the recycling centres attached to the local tips are absolutely great, because they are genuine pieces that were being thrown away, that weren't loved anymore, that do still have life left in them. They are beautiful pieces of furniture and they're still properly built, whereas modern furniture isn't built that way anymore.
No, it's not built to last.
No,
a lot
really
of it is
isn't.
chipboard. I completely get where you're coming from. How do you overcome your failures? You might have a set idea of what you're going to do to something, but sometimes you just had to go with the furniture because it had bleed through, it had issues. You're painting something, the paint's coming off, or you're just pulling your hair out. How do you overcome things like that?
Knowing that nothing you do, even if it goes wrong and it is awful and the paint's coming off and it's peeling, well, you've not ruined it. Yes, you might need to take a step away and go and have a glass of wine and have a little cry about it, but it can all be undone.
Now, when it comes to commission pieces, I can imagine that being quite a scary thing if somebody's asked you to do. Have you ever faced anything like that?
Yeah, I think the benefit of commission pieces is you can almost regulate your salary a little bit. You know what's coming in each month. So that's obviously, especially at the moment with the cost of living, it is a nicety. I'm the same as you, though. I find it really stressful, especially if someone goes, oh, this is a family heirloom and I want you to paint it. And you're like, oh my God, the pressure to get it right. You're like, oh no. I've got one coming up actually, and I've done a piece for her before, and it's this beautiful console table, and it's got this stunning carved detail. But there is a point where they're your customers, they trust you to do something, and I say, you're not going to ruin it. Ultimately, if you have to take it all back off and start again, I always find I'm best to break a project down, take it in little steps, and then you know if it's going wrong early on, rather than getting to the end and going, damn it.
Yeah. As you've been growing, and obviously you sell pieces on your shop and you've got an Etsy store as well, while you've been growing, have you found that's had a huge knock-on effect selling pieces in your stores as well?
It's had more of an effect on the commissions that have come in. People will contact me more for commissions. I think it's given people a bit more. I know when I go onto Etsy, I'll then always go and Google someone as well to see where they are. I think it's given people who buy from other places, other platforms, that little bit more confidence.
So talk us through your lead time from start to finish.
Generally, most pieces I try and do within a week or 2 weeks. If I've got multiple pieces on the go, it would probably be more 2 weeks. Some pieces, I recently did a chair that was a bentwood chair that only took probably 3 or 4 days to do. I have then done a piano bar that was for ourselves that took 4 years to do because it was moved to the back of the garage and then wasn't touched.
We've all got those.
Yeah, it was only because we went into lockdown and I ran out of other projects that it finally got finished. So it really can vary depending on the piece and then what obstacles it throws up for you.
How do you know how to charge for your pieces with how much time you've spent on them?
I think that's something that has built up over the 9 to 10 years I've been doing this. I think the first piece of furniture I sold was a bookcase that I painted white, like we said, and I think I sold it for like £20. I now generally stick to very similar pieces. They're cocktail cabinets, dressing tables and sideboards. And those prices that I'm charging now have built up over that time. They reflect everything that I've learned in that decade, the trials and errors, the mistakes that I've made, to make sure that I know what I'm doing now, that I know that paint finish will last, because it won't chip. I've done the right prep, I've got the right paint, and I've got the right finish on it. The prices reflect the experience that's gone into it and all those mistakes that have been made. And that is how people learn, by making those mistakes.
Thanks so much for joining us, Danny. If you want to see more from Danny, then search Rediscovered by Danielle on Instagram, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks Vikkie, it was brilliant to find out more about Danielle. If you want to see the full interview, click the link in the description to go through to the website. Now it's time for the final instalment of my Maker Guide. This is a 3-part series of guides to a simple woodworking project that you can follow along with at home. Hopefully you all saw my guide to making a bar stool in the last episode. If you didn't, you can always go back and watch it. Today I'll be showing you how to make a rocking horse. You're right, Anya, and we're back once again with another fairly quick DIY project. I'm Joel from Average Joel's Joinery on YouTube, and today I'm going to run you through the step-by-step process of how to make this modern rocking horse out of plywood. Right, here's some tools that you're going to need for this project. For the materials on this project, we're keeping it really simple. The majority of the pieces for the rocking horse is going to come from this 18mm plywood sheet. I'm going to get my PPE on, and I'm going to come round and start the cut from this size. Now I've got the plywood cut in half, it's going to be a lot easier to handle. We'll be able to get all the pieces for the rocking horse out of this now. We always use the first piece we cut, because that way we can get rid of any little mistakes we might have made when we was cutting the other pieces. Again, I just need to make sure that it's nice and flush against the edge, and then we can use a pencil to mark our final cut line. And with that piece cut, we've got our 3 pieces ready to glue up to form the seat block. So with those in place, we're going to add some screws just to hold it together while the glue dries. Right, it's time to get a bit artistic. Now you can go with any design you like on this. The 2 most important features are going to be the curve to the rocker and the height of the seat. Just make sure you've got a nice arc for the bottom, a correct height for your seat, and a nice comfortable height for the handholds later on. Right. So we've got the design to the rocking horse sketched out, it's time to get it cut. We'll be using a jigsaw for this. So that's our second side cut. You may notice that some of the plywood has started to chip out on us. That's no problem, we can either fix that with a bit of wood glue or super glue, and even add a bit of filler later. So then we can give all the pieces a nice sanding, get all the edges nice and smooth, and then we can get it assembled. With those pieces sanded, I'll get some wood glue applied to the centre seat block. We'll drill some pilot holes through the sides, and we'll get it secured together with some screws. I can do the same on the other side. Now we can add a bead of wood glue on this angled edge. And that's the rocking horse taking shape. It even rocks as well. Next thing we're going to do is going to get these holes filled, and then we can look at getting the seat sorted out. I've waited until now to cut the seat shape because it's going to be interacting with where the front of the rocking horse falls. With the edges nice and smooth now, we'll be able to get it fitting into place. And it does fit. That's the benefit of making the structure first, then offering it up and getting it marked. If we'd have measured and marked, chances are it might have been a little bit out. So the next thing we're going to be doing is cutting the 35mm dowel. This is going to be for the handles and the footrests as well. And then we can thread this handle through. For the main body to the rocking horse, I'm going to be using a cream furniture paint. This is ideal for this application, but of course you can go with any colour you like. With the grey paint applied, that can go on drying. In the meantime, I'm going to clean up some of the overspill of paint that I've got on the footrest and the handles, and then we can apply the wax. With the wax applied, we can put it to one side, let it dry, and then that's the project done. So there you have it, a DIY modern rocking horse project which is achievable even if you're just starting out woodworking. You don't require a garage full of tools or a lot of materials. If you fancy giving it a go, please feel free to share your builds with us on social media. We'd love to see what you get up to. That's it from me. Catch you on the next one. Make sure you click the links in the description to go through to the Evolution Power Tools website. You'll not only find my full guide to making a rocking horse, but you'll also find much more great content from everyone featured in this episode. I hope that introduction to the rocking horse build has inspired you to want to see more. If it has, click the link in the description to go and see the full video. Right, it's competition time now, so it's over to Megan to find out what you can win.
Thanks, Joe. Hi guys, I'm back to announce the winner of last episode's competitions and tell you how you can win some brilliant prizes. I'm Megan, Head of Customer Service for Evolution Power Tools. Myself and my team work hard to help our customers with their Evolution products. And today, I have the additional job of letting you know which of you has won at our picture competition and will be enjoying their prize of an Amazon Echo Dot. I'll also be announcing the winner of last episode's big competition that had a grand prize of a Samsung Galaxy Watch. Before we get on to the competitions, I just want to tell you a bit about some of the conversations I and my team have had with our customers this month. Martin contacted us regarding his R355 CPS unit as he has thought that there was a missing item on his purchase of this chop saw. Michelle was able to quickly identify the customer's query and provide an explanation to the customer that on the base this unit has 3 rubber feet and the 4th foot is a pressed steel. This is to help stabilise the base and acts as an anti-static. The customer was satisfied with the advice and the speedy response. John called us for some assistance with a spare part he needed for his circular saw. John needed an outer flange for his saw, which Isabel was able to identify from the customer's explanation. The customer placed their order with us with ease thanks to Isabel. Miguel contacted us over our live chat from Spain and was looking for help with a spare part and where he could purchase in Spain. Sarah was able to advise not only where he could find our supplier in Spain, but also that he had the option of us sending the spare part from the UK and we would be able to quote him for the carriage and said part. Miguel was really happy with the result. If you need any information about Evolution Power Tools products or any support with your purchases, our customer service and technical support team are on hand 8 AM to 5 PM Monday to Friday. Right, let's get on to the competitions. You guys have been sending in the pictures of the things you've been making and they all look really good. Let's have a look at some of them. Steve Holt restored his garden bench for his mum. The heavy cast iron ends were stripped back and repainted, and the oak slates cut to size on his miter saw. Great project there, Steve. Tom Lee from Wrexham rebuilt this side entrance, replacing the old crumbling bricks and slabs with the help of his Evolution disc cutter. Nice job, Tom. Paul Justice from Kent built this composite decking seat storage area in his back garden to store his garden tools and wellies. Thanks for sharing that with us. Pierre Ferren built this little side gate accessory under his table saw. Nice piece of carpentry there, Pierre. All of your pictures have been great, but only one of you has won the competition in the Amazon Echo doll. I'm very pleased to announce that our winner is Steve, for his picture of the bench restoration. Very good work, Steve. Your prize is on its way to you now. Right, in our last episode, you took part in our big competition to win a Samsung Galaxy Watch. The question was on Joe's cordless project. What did he make? Was it A, a garden bench, B, a toy box, or C, a bar stool? The answer was of course C, a bar stool. The lucky winner is Michael Phillips. Congratulations, Michael, your prize is on its way to you now. Okay, that's it for competitions this month. Make sure you click the link in the description to take part in the competitions and win some great prizes. Well, that's it from me for this series. I'll see you again in 2023.
Thanks, Megan. Right, that's it for today's episode. I really hope that you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you never miss an upcoming episode. Please comment below if you have any questions, suggestions or ideas for content, and make sure you come back next time for more great inspirational stories. We're going to be taking a break from the show until 2023, but in the meantime we'll have plenty more great content and competitions, as well as all of the features from our previous episodes, so make sure you're subscribed. Thanks again, and I'll see you next year.